Today is Thursday, June 1st. We are here to provide the public an opportunity to testify on the fiscal year 18 budget as a whole. During this budget review, the Committee on Ways and Means has heard testimony from many longtime advocates and new constituencies, including receiving written testimony regarding departmental budgets for which we have not held a hearing. To build on the increased public engagement, the committee has called for this hearing for the sole purpose of hearing public testimony on any aspect of the FY18 recommended budget. The dockets associated with this are dockets 0536 through 0538, orders for the fiscal year 18 operating budget, including annual appropriations for departmental operations, annual appropriation for the school department, and appropriation for other post-employment benefits, as well as dockets 0539 through 0543, capital budget appropriations, including loan orders and lease and purchase agreements. Testimony will be taken on a first-come, first-served basis. While we may receive from time to time, recess from time to time, if there is no one here to testify, it is the committee's intent to not adjourn the hearing until 7 p.m. If you would like to testify, please sign in to the sign-in sheet to my left by the door. Please indicate in the box whether you would wish to testify, state your name, affiliation, and residence, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes to ensure that all comments and concerns can be heard. We also encourage written testimony via email or snail mail at ccc.wm@boston.gov. Also, ccc-dot-wm-at-boston-gov, and FiOS channel 1964, as well as RCN channel 82 and Comcast channel 8. In order to ensure that everyone has the opportunity to speak and is comfortable expressing their opinion, we will adhere to all established council rules, including limiting testimony to 3 minutes per person and prohibiting all visual and audible signs of approval or disapproval. These rules are not intended to curtail the views of any individual or group, but rather to encourage the expression of all viewpoints. With that, now I'd like to recognize, in order of their arrival, City Councilor at Large, to my left, Anissa Sabi-George, and to my right, District City Councilor Tito Jackson. I'm just going to read a couple of statements into the record from colleagues who could not be here today. Dear Councilor Siomo, I am writing to apologize for not being able to attend today's Ways and Means hearing on dockets 0536 through 0543, FY18 budget, due to a scheduling conflict. I want to state for the record that I believe it is important to hear public testimony regarding the FY18 budget, and I most certainly will be reviewing the tape. I am looking forward to any further discussions that result from this hearing. Sincerely, Timothy P. McCarthy, City Councilor, District 5. Also, dear colleagues, regrettably, I am unable to attend today's hearing on the fiscal year 18 budget carryover due to a previously scheduled conflict. I look forward to reviewing the recording upon my return. Sincerely, Andrea J. Campbell, Boston City Councilor, District 4. Councilor Siomo, please be advised that a long-planned trip that I am currently on has prevented my attendance at today's hearing of the City Council's Ways and Means docket 0536 through 0543, fiscal year 18 budget on Thursday, June 1st at 3 p.m. in the City Council's Ayanna chamber. I will review all testimony in the days ahead. Please read this letter into the record, and thank you, Councilor Siomo. Sincerely, Matt O'Malley, District 6 City Councilor. And with that, we have, let me call the first folks who want to testify. We have Sarah Schaff. Did I press? Up. No displays of approval or disapproval, please. You come down here to the podium.
Thank you, councilors. I'm here as a citizen, independent of city government. I'm actually a volunteer, and I'm one of several hundred volunteers with the archaeology department. And I'm here today to give testimony about the need for resources for that department going forward. And you likely have received some letters from my colleagues and volunteers, and I have some 6 additional letters to submit to you today. But I'm writing to urge you to support a modest allocation of this department of $250,000 to fund at least 1 or 2 additional staff members and a permanent operating budget. You'll see from my email just before our session today that there is resources in that line item, but I want to just clarify, it's my understanding those resources are one-time grant resources that are specified for a very specific survey project that may or may not take place in the year of 2018. So I hope that councilors will take that into consideration. I also would like to present as evidence the vast boom and development that we have here in the city has created the need for this funding for this department. Specifically, the archaeology department and the single staff member is responsible for making sure development projects don't impede on our cultural and archaeological resources in the city. So this is extremely important right now, and I hope the council will look at some of the recommendations in terms of areas of the budget we could look at for these resources that I sent in my email earlier, and I'll provide after this testimony today. Let's see. I also would just mention that when I volunteered at the old City Hall Plaza, we had hundreds of thousands of people stopping by along the Freedom Trail during our regular archaeological recovery there. And it was a tremendous opportunity for tourists to be engaged in the history, very important history, that's here in the city. And so if there's any questions, I'd be happy to take those. I've taken a lot of time to look at the city's budget and been involved in anthropology and archaeology for a number of years. So.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah. So I have items for the record. Do I?
Kate will grab the letter.
Okay. I also have the award that was not included in the attachment.
Great.
For Joe Bagley, who's the single staff member for that department.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, Sarah. Mike Heisman.
Just don't want anybody to take that. Members of the City Council, thank you very much. My name is Mike Heisman. I live in 9 Jerome Street, Dorchester. I'm a retired school teacher from the Chelsea Public Schools, and my daughter graduated from Boston Arts Academy in 2009. And I've been an educational activist fighting for quality education and equity since 1970. Why do our elected officials, most of our elected officials in the city of Boston, support policies that damage and hurt our children? That's my central question. I'm an old man. I've been fighting for our kids' education for decades. And as long as I'm alive, I'm going to continue to be involved in the struggle. I'm working now with BEJA, Boston Education Justice Alliance, and the Coalition for Equal Quality Education. Every year, it's the same story. It's the same sad story. I hear the superintendent of schools talk about how great the budget is and how thankful we should be to the mayor for a record-breaking budget. And then I hear from our children, and then I hear from our parents, and I hear about all this pain, and the plans for future pain for next year. Schools without libraries or librarians, schools that are in bad shape physically, that need over $1 billion, I believe, in repairs. Not enough resources. Over and over and over again, things get worse and worse and worse. If I did not live in Chelsea and teach in Chelsea and today live in Boston, instead, if I were living and teaching in Wellesley and the wealthy communities, why is it that they seem to value and cherish and love their children more than we do? And why? Why is it austerity for low-income communities and mostly children of color? And members of the City Council, we're always faced with the same choice. Is our primary loyalty to the super rich, or is it to our children? Is it to the people of our city, especially those with the greatest needs? This is the Ways and Means Committee. Will you find the ways and means and the intestinal fortitude to take back the wealth that is stolen from the super rich? Will you find the ways and means and the intestinal fortitude to be more loyal to our children than to the super rich? That is my major question. We need a mayor who will support policies that will really nurture and love our children. We need members of the City Council that will do the same. Thank you very much.
Thank you. John Buxton.
My name is John Buxton. I live at 185 Mass Ave, Unit 901 in Boston, on the border of Fenway and Back Bay. I've been very involved in the downtown neighborhood associations and am puzzled by how our neighborhoods are being degraded by things like knocking down affordable housing and building luxury housing, allowing Airbnb for owners of apartment buildings. I know that the new program is to register as an apartment owner. I hope that you fund the inspectional division adequately, and maybe with all the fines that come into the city, they could go right back to the inspectional division. We need to stop corporations from ruining our downtown neighborhoods. And there is no excuse. We've participated for years in allowing certain development that was appropriate for the neighborhood on Boylston Street, particularly planning for zoning. And the city has not taken their fair share of the work on this one. I certainly also agree entirely with the last speaker who said that education has to be our major effort in this one. The young Bostonians, the immigrants coming here, the schools, teachers, neighborhood organizations that spend a lot of time doing things, that the city has to step up with that as a first priority. I volunteer to tutor math at the Boston Arts Academy because I live close by. I volunteer to tutor Syrian immigrants because it makes a huge difference to have their language and their mathematics brought up to speed so that they can be successful in our school systems. I certainly hope that the city council will push back on some of Mayor Walsh's development plans that bring a lot of money into the city, but without consideration for our neighborhoods and our children. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh, let me recognize that we've been joined by District 3 City Councilor Frank Baker. I don't have any other sign-in sheets. Does anybody else wish to testify at this point? Oh. Can you...
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm going to try to get through this. I wasn't quite ready. I wasn't sure if I was going to do this, but I see there's no line, so why not?
There's no line.
So my name is Jean OLeary. I have been working for the city of Boston since I've been 13 years old. First volunteered in the fields when they had field days and sort of things. I also became a camp counselor at Camp Joy. Then on to be an MDC lifeguard. I grew up in West Roxbury, and I attended West Roxbury High School. I went on to become an educator, and I obtained my first education license in 1985. My second was in 1996. I have taught over 25 years in Boston Public Schools. I want to clarify that I am a very hardworking, invested, and effective teacher. I am well respected by colleagues, students, and families. I have continued to put a lot of time and money to make sure that both of my licenses are current. I have put in countless hours into teacher trainings, workshops, and certified programs. I was assigned to be teacher in charge for 5 years, meaning that I took on all administrative duties in the absence of the principal. Only well-qualified and well-respected teachers are asked to fill this position at their schools. In 2014, my computer lab closed. I had worked at the school for 10 years. I was devastated, to say the least. But what was more devastating was to be stripped of my title as a teacher. I am now called an SBC, and that is why I'm here speaking today. My reputation has been shredded by the media, but what's worse than that is Boston Public Schools has demeaned me as not worthy of a position. Through public testimony, various publications, and through the media, BPS has stated that SBCs have not earned a position. Over 25 years of dedication and a flawless record, and I have not earned a position. I am highly qualified, hold 2 active licenses. I have never had a bad evaluation. I come highly recommended, and I'm also on the high priority list to be hired. I've applied for 15 jobs. Excuse me. I have gum in my mouth. I shouldn't. It's hard to talk. I have applied for approximately 15 jobs in the past 3 years. I have not been invited for 1 interview. For many years, I've held my head up high, so proudly to say that I work for BPS. For the past 2 years, I am ashamed. I am ashamed for not what I do. Teaching is my purpose in life. I am ashamed that BPS is not putting the students' needs first at the forefront. I am ashamed that BPS would rather save money and hire inexperienced and unlicensed teachers rather than hiring a highly qualified and experienced teacher. And I do feel bad for these younger teachers that I just feel like they're being set up. I feel like they don't have a chance. They're not given a chance when they first come in. The treatment of SBC's teachers is despicable. I know for me, I feel like a puppet on a string. I have no control over where I will be assigned every school year. I don't even have a say in what I'll be teaching. I am placed a week or 2 before school starts. SBCs have been trashed so much so that even our colleagues treat us differently. There's no real connection to the school, to the students and family. So we are not considered, or I don't feel like I'm considered, as a culture of we. Last year I was placed as an SBC at the Murphy Elementary School, in which I taught computers to approximately 625 students. I happened to work there 15 years prior, so I was glad to be home. I gave my heart, soul, and energy to every single student, every single one of my students. The principal wanted to keep me there, but unfortunately there was no money in the budget. I guess there's a rule that SBCs cannot stay at the same school 2 years in a row, regardless of their impact on student learning. This year, a week before school started, I was notified that I would be teaching at a high school. 13 years teaching elementary, and I get assigned to a high school. This is not strategic placement for me, and I hope you would agree with that. I was assigned to teach SEI technology. SEI means Sheltered English Instruction or Sheltered English Immersion, depending on what you read from. I am not an SEI teacher, but I will do whatever is needed for the benefit of the student. My only fear that I had was being evaluated in this position. It's like telling a brain surgeon to go perform heart surgery. It doesn't make any sense. This strategic placement was a setup to evaluate me out. It was unethical to evaluate my performance considering my assignment. Although I received an overall proficient, it came with much sacrifice. I had to spend countless hours reinventing everything and developing a new curriculum using SEI strategies. There was absolutely no social life for me this year. I want to call this exactly what it is. It's evident that I have not obtained my own classroom because I cost too much money. And that's my feeling. To me, this is such a waste. I am only one story, and there's plenty more stories like mine. So I ask you to please look at this budget. Look at what BPS is doing with their initiative, with early hiring and their pipeline programs. From what I understand, most of those young people getting into teaching are not passing the MTELs, and to no fault of their own. I think they're just shoved into these programs, and I know it costs a lot of money. I think it's $10 million for the pipeline programs, although we do need it at some point, but I think right now we need to pull back a little bit. We have a lot of schools closing and turnaround schools. There are a lot of teachers out there right now trying to seek a position, and they're not being hired. I think we might be looking at almost maybe 300 SBCs in the upcoming future. So I'm not sure. So I would take a look at that initiative. I don't know how many hours they have to do through these programs, Teach America and what else they have in their pipeline. But I think it's crucial to maybe take a look at their credentials they have to go through to become part of the classroom. Okay.
Thank you.
you.
If folks wanted to sign up to testify, there's a sign-in sheet right over here by the door. Okay. And we've since been joined by at-large City Councilor Ayanna Presley. When I call your name, if you want to come to the podium to speak, we have Kathleen Alves, Tom Arabia, Malcolm Claft. Oh, I'm sorry, they said no. Abigail Bowers, Amira Fettelsaid, Ruby Wen, Natalie Portillo.
Hello again, sir. It's nice, lovely seeing you in this full room of everybody here. My name's Kathleen Alves. I go to Snowden International High. I'm here to advocate against the budget cuts. I've been in BPS for all my life. I went to Edward Middle Schools and I went to the Samuel Adams as a child. If I didn't have BPS, I wouldn't have the future I have now. If I didn't get the chance to go to the Edward Middle Schools, I wouldn't have joined debate. I wouldn't have joined theater. I wouldn't have found the passion that I have now for educational justice. I am here using my voice for all the people who could not be here today. I am here representing around, let's say, 400 people that I know personally that still go to BPS, and I'm pretty sure there's way more. My voice, I want you guys to listen and hear this out. My education is of value, and so is everyone else in BPS. You guys shouldn't, cutting these budgets is just slowly shortening the future of these children and not letting them live to their full potential. And then you wonder why they're out in the streets when their schools are getting shut down. And you wonder why our standardized testing levels are going lower and schools have to shut down because they don't have the teachers to teach their children. Schools that only have one guidance counselor for 5 cops. Schools that got all their teachers fired, all of their teachers fired and getting rehired, and each student just giving up hope. Schools where students are watching their programs being cut one by one, their teachers apologizing because they can't afford to take them on this field trip, they can't afford these textbooks, they can't afford these notebooks, they can't afford to give them the basic necessities they need in a classroom. Schools where teachers have to spend money out of their own pocket to keep the class sustainable. Schools where they have to... Let me gain my composure. I care about BPS a lot, and I'm hoping you guys do. I can see that you're listening to me. I can see that you're trying to get what I'm saying, but in reality, it looks like just dull eyes, waiting till I'm finished speaking, and not doing any actual action. It looks like a council of puppets, watching me come in again and watching the rest of these students come in again and again and again, fighting for their education and not caring about a word we have to say, using your phones when we come to these budget hearings, not showing up, making these budget hearings hours during our school hours where we can't show up, making these budget hearings during the times of our proms of our most influential peoples, making these budget hearings and just watching you guys stare at me and knowing you're taking away me and a bunch of other people's futures, and knowing that it will never really resonate with you guys, and it will never resonate the consequences of what you're doing to us. My name is Kathleen Alves. I am one student out of BPS, and I'm pleading for you guys not to allow these budgets to go through. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Folks, so before you all came in, we have certain protocols in the chamber. When people testify, we ask that they not show any expressions of support or non-support, which means clapping. You can wave your hands, snapping, but we ask you to refrain. That's our council rules, so please adhere to them. Council Baker?
I just have a problem being called a puppet. That's all. $40 million increased budget this year. We're going to have someone come in and call us puppets. I work pretty hard. So based on that right there, I'm not going to stay for the rest of this testimony. I come in here to hear testimony. Someone calls me a puppet, I'm all set. Thank you.
Thank you. Recess. Listen, we can all just be. I'm just We're either going to conduct this in a civil way. Out here, Abigail Bowers. Ruby Wen and Natalie Portillo.
Hello, I'm Abigail Bowers. I am a senior at Boston Latin Academy, one of the schools who is going to be cut. First of all, no disrespect, but you guys are adults. We are angry because our budgets are cutting. I'm sorry that we hurt your feelings, but our futures are being hurt right now. First of all, my school has 7 guidance counselors. In many Boston public schools, that's a privilege. That shouldn't be a privilege. If we continue to cut the budgets, guess what's going to happen? We're going to lose guidance counselors, and the students need them. I would not have gotten out of high school on time if I did not have the guidance department. Boston is still segregated too. Our neighborhoods are still segregated. Most of our schools are filled with POCs. And the schools that are not even being cut, BLS, which are the prominent white public schools who have endowments that can pay for cuts, are not being cut. BLA is being cut, but we only have 20% white people here. If you cut these schools, we will go into further privatization of education into charter schools. We need to fix the schools and add more money instead of cutting about like 1 million from Brighton High and many other schools such as Burke and BLA, about 100,000. BLA doesn't even have pencils in its art classroom. And we're one of the privileged schools. Sometimes we don't have door handles on our staircases. So, the people who are going to be hurt are not me. It's going to be the students of color at the level 3 and 4 schools who are already underfunded, who are going to get cut. Their IEP programs are going to get cut. Those are the first to go. The art, the music, the IEP programs. The students need release and help with the guidance and IEP programs. And if these programs are cut, students such as my sister who has Asperger's, my friend who has organizing problems, and one of my other friends who is autistic will not be able to go through high school and will have to search expensive schools to help them that they cannot afford. I say that we are trying to be civil, trust me, but we're frustrated because we were here last year saying the same stuff. And we don't feel listened to because last year, around hour 2, people were on their phones. Counselors were on their phones as if our future doesn't matter. I'm going to leave now and let other speakers speak, but I have to just say that it's completely disrespectful that one name drove a counselor out of here. Our future is here. We are angry. Can you understand that? You walking out is walking out of students' futures. You need to understand that 1, we're angry, and 2, you need to listen to us, okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Kathleen Alves, Tom Arabia, Naladine Croft. Okay. Khalid Mohammed, Ian McSorley, Britt, Michael Jones. Oh, here we go.
Thank you for hearing me. I don't really have a lot to say, and I want to give most of the time to the students here. Okay, so I'm not a student in Boston right now, but I've been a resident since 2001. And what really pains me is that this city and this state is lauded as a progressive one. It's a city that has so many hospitals, so many universities, so many schools, and a tremendous amount of wealth. Massachusetts has now over 15,000 millionaires in it. 15,000 millionaires, okay? And yet, we somehow can't find the money to fund public education. That to me is beyond belief. It's completely beyond belief. We have developments happening everywhere in the city, downtown, by the waterfront, by Fenway. There's all of these condos, luxury condos coming up. Neighborhoods are getting gentrified. People are being displaced. There's a tremendous amount of wealth when it comes to development, housing development, commercial real estate, etc. I don't think that those people are being punished for displacing people, and instead, students are being punished because this city can't come up with the money, even though the money is actually here. It's all around us. We have private universities bringing in all kinds of money. We have General, is it Electric or Motors? I can't remember, that just moved in. We have vast arrays of tech, pharma, all of these companies, but yet there's millions of dollars being cut from public education. It really genuinely boggles my mind. Why are you punishing students? And right now, we are in a world and in a country in which we have a president whose education secretary literally wants to dismantle her own portfolio, her own department. I mean, it's unbelievable, right? Do we want to step in line with that, which is about the destruction of people and poor people and people of color and youth? Or do we want to chart a separate course that says, no, actually, we are not about the oppression of youth and working class families. Instead, we want a bright future for all people. And I think that's what this city needs to figure out how to stand up for, and not on the backs of students in Boston.
I'm sorry, sir, you didn't introduce yourself, just for the record.
Oh, yeah, Tom Arabia.
Thank you.
I'm a resident of Roxbury.
Thank you. Miss Elaine Dents. And somebody help me here. Well, let me put it this way. Does anybody else want to testify?
Maybe Reese Lander?
And then just please introduce yourself before you speak.
Hello, my name is Matteo, and I'm a BPS graduate, and I'm also a student at Boston University. So I kind of know a little bit about the education in the Boston area. My school was Dorchester Academy, which was a level 4 school, and it got shut down. I am the embodiment and the aftermath of budget cuts. I know what it feels like to not have enough guidance counselor. In fact, I only had one for my school of 400 kids. I also know what it feels like to not have enough books, not have enough support, not have enough supplies. And it really saddens me because the only way we're gonna move this city forward is if our kids, the youth, the generation of now that is in charge of the world, the leaders of the world are educated. And we don't even have access to that. I am very lucky because I got a scholarship and was able to move on to secondary education. But once I arrived at my university, I found myself being behind other students. And that should not be the case. I had to fill in gap holes in my education because people around me learn about things that I never even heard of before. And that's really sad. I'm back here because I'm a BPS graduate. And even with all the bad things that we lacked and that happened within our school system, At the end of the day, I know that education is the force that drives us forward. So as a graduate, I'm back here because I would like the younger people to be listened to. And this should stop. It should never get to this. I am in my third year in university. Why am I still hearing about budget cuts? I guess that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Congratulations on your scholarship. Okay. Okay. I don't know.
Good afternoon, y'all. My name is Brian Britt, the F-bomb kid. Not really the F-bomb kid, but the kid that doesn't give an F. Let me see. So where am I going to start? We're angry. We're really angry. I'm trying to clear my mind a little bit, and the reason why I'm going to say we're angry is because of this. Y'all are adults. Y'all have so many privileges that we don't have. You feel me? When my boy is killed, we don't get to call recess. You feel me? Nah, I'm not even going to mention that. But it's just simple. It's like when kids get pushed out of school, when students have issues at their schools and homes, we don't get recess like y'all get recess. Y'all get to call that anytime. Y'all get to just stop the game and keep going. You feel me? That is a privilege that we don't have. We live through the game. It's literally like a matrix, right? Yeah. Oh, apologize. Stop the cameras real quick. But yeah, no, that's like honestly how we feel. It feels like we're just in this game and y'all controlling it, and it's a matter of like. Really, like when I came up here, like my purpose of it was just to tell y'all to prioritize us. Like honestly, that's all we want is just prioritize. And the reason why we say this is because, like, for example, last budget hearing that I went to, right? It had to do with BPS's budget. How come this room was filled with a bunch of white people with their suits on and stuff like that, and no students were here? Now that the students are here, we're missing counselors. We're missing those people. We're missing the people who plan the budget. It's like. So it's a matter of like us not feeling prioritized, you feel me? And it's like, and like Abigail said, we did this last year, but I can't promise you that next year we're gonna rally. I can't promise you that next year we're gonna walk out. What I can promise you, or what I don't know, your dog might go missing, your car might go missing, your house might go missing, a few other things.
Come on, man.
And really that's because we're pissed, and we want you to know we're pissed. And we do this every single time. We testify every single time. And when we do, it feels like y'all don't listen to us. And honestly, it feels like, and the reason why I'm not looking at y'all now, because it feels like y'all not even listening to me right now. It feels like that. You feel me? And the reason why it feels like that is because I'm here. But next year, I'm not in BPS. But next year, they're going to be in the same spot or probably like in a worse position. And my thing is, my fault. Let me backtrack to where I wanted my speech to go to. What I want y'all to do, what I want from y'all is just to hold each other accountable, hold your peers accountable, hold the mayor accountable, you feel me? Because at the end of the day, what we're really tired, what really pisses us off, really, is fighting for this last slice of the pie, you feel me? That really sucks. We hate having to come at the school committee. We hate having to do that because, again, and this kind of goes into accountability where I need y'all to hold the mayor accountable. I need y'all to tell the mayor, yo, we need you to ask more money from the state for public education on some real, because at this point it's just getting like, I don't know, it's become some internalized, like it has become internalized before in the movement where we come at the school committee, but then we realize that it's not them, it's the city, and the money's out there, the money is out there. We just need y'all to prioritize us and put that money there. And that's about it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
What's up, everyone? My name is Ian. I'm from I guess one of the last generations to say that they can successfully have said that they try to fight for their rights regardless of what happened. But I want to first, before I even address any budget cut allegations or what's going to go on with our budget cut, I want to address the fact that the representation of young people is in this room right now to a degree. And the fact of the matter is that a man walked away because a young woman said that she felt like these positions are puppets because they can't actually allocate and represent and protect the young people for their quality education. In a way, I view it as a crime. Y'all may not view that as a crime. Y'all may just view that as doing your job. But she had every right to say how she felt because at the end of the day, these are our lives. Boston public schools, especially the ones in the schools that I went to growing up in my life, we had to take those unpaid like internships just to make our resumes look just as good or somewhere near close to the suburban counterparts that we have to deal with when we compete for the colleges of this city. We don't get those demands, and I understand that the whole idea about higher education is a very high demanding institution, but the youth needs guidance so that way we can actually fight for these institutions and fight for the education that we deserve. Now, the fact of the matter is that these budget cuts have been going on for years, and every year, less allocation for young people is happening in this city. When, like I said before, business owners, private business owners, people who work in, let's say, like landscaping and things like that, and like housing, they're making millions, if not billions, but yet we're losing millions. Where is the correlation with that? And I'm not asking every millionaire to give me $100,000. I'm not asking for that. I'm asking for appropriate allocation for every youth that comes into those buildings. I don't understand, why is it that we have to fight for the same rights that people legit 10 miles to 15 miles away from this city get with no questions asked? I asked to myself, why is it that there are more police officers and guidance counselors? I also went to Dorchester High. Why is it that there was only 2 guidance counselors representing hundreds of students? And why is it that even bigger schools get even less guidance counselors? I understand that there has to be protection, but I also don't understand the fact that there's no representation. So to me, the lack of representation lacks a lack of protection and a lack of actual real guidance. And also, it was a clear lack of stability and support for the people of Boston and the young people of Boston.
Mic check. All right, there we go. I'm gonna go tell so you know. Good evening, first off. My name is Chris, and a lot of things have been on my chest lately, and I have to let it out. Bridges burn in my eyes due to the fact that as a city, we're moving backwards. Instead of giving more to schools, we gentrify low-income areas and push families out while tearing down the last hope. Instead of building a foundation for youth leadership, we close schools and cut budgets while ignoring the voices of those in desperate need. I have a hard time realizing the progress we're gonna make if we keep destroying the future. Life is a cycle, and soon the next generation will take over. If the mayor and the superintendent don't understand the consequences of their choices, and if the budget passes, students' basic human right to the access of a free and equal education will be at risk. Cutting off the future of students while trying to make something out of nothing will lead to a higher dropout rate, and the school-to-prison pipeline will only increase. So will you let the progress of this city bite the dust, or will you nurture and help the future of students grow? Best believe, if the budget passes, you will hear more from us. Because you probably wouldn't expect it, but I got acceptance Northeastern. I know, right? A child from a low-income area with a single mother that struggles to even pay the rent got acceptance Northeastern. I know, right? And I just have a hard time trying to realize how we're gonna progress, because I have 3 younger brothers and I take care of them every day like they're my own children. So how is it the fact that I look at my little brothers and see no future in their eyes? All the light that was in their eyes is once gone, especially to my little brother with the mental disability. I look into his eyes, and one time he asked me, what's left for me? So what's left for all of us? As you can see, I'm a youth prisoner.
Hi, my name is Michael Jones. I'm currently enrolled in Boston Day and Evening. The 2 things I'd like to say before I get into how I'm, like, what my points are, is first, saying that y'all as, politicians and also as people of color, from what I can see, should realize that when police or people in uniforms come in, especially towards youth, it is a very triggering moment, and that should be respected, and also there should be an apology, I feel, and I'm asking that from you and of you. Secondly, there should be some other type of intervention. One of y'all should come up, even if it's getting too rowdy, rather than that happening, and I'm just, asking on my own behalf. Secondly, I know it's been talked about before with, the whole puppet statement, but what I would say is it was not directed towards specific individuals, which is one of the things that we have been told when we come here. We can't make, specific individual remarks. And 2, every action has a reaction. The action we made at the last meeting, which was leaving, the reaction to that was y'all calling this meeting together to hear our voices. The action of the words, and then the reaction of that man was him leaving. That was not a good reaction to that. That shows that he is one of the people that shouldn't have been here. And as people have stated before, thank you for still being here and still listening. So one of the things that I'm going to start off with is basically saying that we're at this meeting to convey that our voice it needs to be heard, and the urgency is so intricately tied to what we have to say. My first contingent is that at the last hearing, it was stated amongst y'all that in the discussion of social emotional health in and out of school, that there were outlines and plans being set in place for situations such as students' family life being disrupted by ICE and implications of how that might affect their coming to school, as well as their engagement in school. One thing that needs to also be accounted for and should have been in a statement like this is the correlation between barriers students face outside of school as well as inside due to the budget cuts. How can you make outlines for a plan to help students in situations like that if they don't have adequate resources going to school, coming out of school, and they also face barriers outside? My second contingent is that if there's insufficient funds, there cannot be adequate methods of teaching for students. Non-adequate methods of teaching lead to students feeling jaded and disenfranchised. Jading and disenfranchisement then leads to the youth prisoner outfits, but more so the school to prison pipeline. What you see when kids drop out, what you see when people say they don't value education, it's not because they're ignorant kids, it's not because they're just going through an angsty phase. It is legitimately because of the fact that they really do not see a value in education from the powers that be. And disenfranchisement also leads to chronic absences and lower performance in schools, and then schools also get graded on whether they should remain open based on not only performance, absolute growth, things along that lines, which is how schools like Dorchester Academy got closed, and what's happening to Brighton, Excel, and so many others. My third contingent is the last domino will fall. By that, I mean all the talk that happens here or at the bowling year after year will mean nothing when these talks are always how to rearrange the budget, how to cut it minimally, how to tell students there is no need to protest because you'll handle it. And legitimately, the current handling of our budget is like Michael J. Fox waiting tables. Y'all need to handle it better and also talk to the mayor because he's the one who needs to significantly make a difference in this. And it doesn't matter if it's Walsh, it doesn't matter if it's you, Tito, with all due respect, who comes into this position. Anyone who comes in this position needs to understand they need a direct line to the youth. They can't do any middleman stuff. They can't do any, we'll talk to you, we'll do these hearings. They need to come directly to the youth, do this for the youth, by the youth, ask the youth what they want to do with the budget. Not people like GE, not people that don't even come from Boston or live in Boston. Walsh can say all he wants, he's Dorchester born and bred, but not a day in my life have I heard anyone from Dorchester say a good thing about that man in terms of public education. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Doris Jordan. First of all, I go to Dorchester Academy. I graduated from there as well. And I also have to agree with a lot of what everyone else had to say. I personally believe that the school system is archaic and is stunting the youth of the future and is preventing anyone from anywhere from getting any kind of headway in today's society. I feel like we are stuck teaching and learning stuff that is irrelevant right now to our general society. My school was severely underfunded. So we didn't have normal classes like we didn't have economics class, we didn't have algebra, we didn't have any AP classes. Now, by the time we were managed to get one AP class, it was my senior year. I was graduating. Everyone who wanted to take it couldn't take it anymore because all their credits were filled. And that left room for the people who wanted to take it, were younger grades and they wasn't able to take it. I feel like the budget right now is important for the future. I have a little brother, and he's going to be going into school right now. He's in school. And I want him to go to public school because right now he is in a charter school. I went to a charter school. I went to the Boston Renaissance Charter School. That school was not great for me in the slightest. I have ADHD. That school treated me like I was a problem, that I need to be kept quiet, that I need to be entertained instead of teaching me or learning to teach with me, making an available place for me to learn. Then I went to the Joseph Lee School. That school was, at the time, I felt to be a terrible school because it did the same thing as the Renaissance did to me. It made me feel like I was out of place, like I was incapable of learning. Then I went to Dorchester Academy, where teachers there, where they took the time to learn and teach with me and find the best ways for me to learn alongside them. I had one teacher named Brian Rothbaum. He was an interesting teacher because he took the time after school every day to teach with me. He put me on a debate team. He put me on a sports team. He made sure that I was well-rounded and I was educated. And I respect him for that. But not everywhere has teachers like that. Our school closed down. He went to another school. He wasn't guaranteed to go to another school at the end of it because of the closing of our school. Teachers like this do exist, and we need to have more funding and more opportunities for teachers like him to be more precedented in school. Right now, teachers see it as a paycheck, and it's a very little paycheck because teachers overall are underfunded. After-school activities are underfunded for schools like my school. All my school had was sports teams. They didn't have any extracurricular activities unless teachers took it upon themselves to buy the materials on their own time. Now, I'm saying that's not a bad thing, but that shouldn't need to be a thing to begin with. Teachers should be funded and be promoted and be pleased to have after-school activities be promoted and have options for them. Right now, I do attend, and I am with all the other youths today. And I'm out here saying that things need to change, and they need to change for the better, because either they're going to change one way or they're not going to change at all. And stagnation equals death. Human evolution is prized on moving forward. Every day we take greater strides in science, and so why not take greater strides in education? Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, so my name is LaFaith. I'm 17. I go to Snowden. I'm a junior. Oh, okay. So, all right. Honestly, how do you guys expect me to be able to share my feelings when it seems like I can't even be fully listened to? You guys leave because Kathleen, a fellow student who should be able to share her feelings, can't even do that. That's unacceptable. But let me get started. So it seems to us like you guys don't value our education the same way we do. You guys cut the budget and it seems like it's no problem. But let's be clear, the schools can't afford to lose money. I started out this year with 30 plus students in some of my classes. How are students supposed to learn when there aren't even enough desks for them to sit at because a class should not have that many students? To add on, I go to Snowden. It's already a small school. This year, we have way too many students and not enough teachers. Some teachers don't even want to work there next year because they don't want to deal with the nonsense that BPS has to offer. Some students even have 2 to 3 free blocks a day because there aren't enough teachers to teach during those hours. They make it seem like students who drop out had a choice. But with all this crap and the push towards the budget cuts, did they really? I take SATs and I wasn't even informed because I only have one guidance counselor at my school. And it's already overcrowded. This is unacceptable. And all the people who deny us act like we want the newest iPhone or a new game system, but no, we simply want our education. I have younger siblings, and they're at that crucial age. They're in elementary school. Why should they have to deal with any of this? There aren't enough teachers. School is where teachers teach the students. What sense is it to fire the teachers and overcrowd the classroom? It's a cycle that needs to be stopped. Instead of paying for foolish desires, why don't y'all put that money towards schools?
Hi, my name is Natalie, and I'm here to speak for a friend that's not here, or couldn't be here, other stuff. He's talking about our middle school that is getting budget cuts, and yeah. What can I say about the Edwards? Quite a lot. There's so much I can say about the Edwards and the way it's helped me out. My journey and path into the real world. The Edwards was one of the first places where I felt like I could be myself, where I was encouraged and motivated by my teachers, and surprisingly, some of the best students to be the best me. Going into the Edwards taught me so much about being my own person and that being me isn't horrible. The school taught me to be more brave, confident, and confidence stemming from some of the extended learning programs, such as musical theater. And another thing, cutting the budget from the school would mean that the school wouldn't be able to fund the extended learning program like debate, musical theater, step, poetry, etc. And all these classes would be gone. Students wouldn't be able to get the enrichment they need for life. The classes are amazing. The teachers are astounding, and the students have potential to be bright minds in the future if you give them the rich education they deserve. The Edwards provided me all the necessities to survive high school. The school got me to a level where I'm confident, well-educated, strong-hearted individual, and for that, I thank the school and staff. They pushed me to my limit for being that, and I owe them my best to protest against budget cuts. I'm very against budget cuts, and I hope that and pray that the administration reconsiders its decision. The only reason why public schools are doing poorly is because of budget cuts. Give us the chance, and we'll be sure to not disappoint you. I surely hope that you will not cut budgets. That's why all these students are here protesting. Far too long, students sat around witnessing their education and future crumble before their eyes, and this is different. We're not silenced anymore. We're here to protest against the budget cuts. We're here together and stand here together. The budget cuts mean different things. For someone, it'll mean some extra money to waste on trivial things like a fountain or a statue, but to the students, it means to end programs and activities that they love and enjoy. Please, with all our hearts, we hope you reconsider. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Ruby, and today I heard a quote, which I look up to. I didn't hear it for a while now. So the quote is an eye for an eye. And it's just like this situation right here. You guys are expecting us to grow up, be educated, have good jobs, money, all that, right? Okay. But you guys are taking away money for us to do so. You want kids to grow up, to be successful, educated, right? I just say that, okay. And you guys, as parents, right? You guys have expectations for your kids. Do you not? You do. Okay. You have these expectations, but you're not helping us to reach them. You want us to be educated, but at the same time, we're having our education taken away. School is shutting down. Teachers are losing their jobs because there's a budget cut. And because there's a budget cut, teachers don't want to do their best and try the best to help us with our education. Adults be saying that this generations are the future. But what future are you guys gonna have if we don't have our own? An eye for an eye. But then you're expecting us to give you guys fields of diamonds when you're giving us a piece of dirt. You guys are expecting us to go to Ivy League college, but then you guys are taking away the money for us to be doing so because school activities are getting cut. And in my school, the lunch lady doesn't even want to serve lunch. She act like it's just her duty, and it's not like a person to another person. It's like she's a lunch lady feeding a kid cold lunch. She's giving lunch with an attitude. Like, she doesn't want to be there to feed us. And that's like, why? Because she's not getting enough money, because the school are cutting, being shut down, or the budget is being taken away from them. So, and then you want to expect kids to wake up to school every day feeling like they are being helped, but at the same time, the classes that they're being motivated to go to school for are being cut. In my school, there's a 4-year language thing you have to take. And last year, the headmaster was thinking about cutting that class. How can we graduate without that 4-year class language? So all I'm trying to say is that you guys are expecting so much with giving us so little help. I mean, it's not like we can't do it ourselves. It's just that one little push. So is this not an eye for an eye? No, it's not. It's like a drop of penny for 1,000 of mines.
Would you just tell us what school you go to? And if the chair doesn't mind, if you are a current student, I would be interested in what school you attend.
I go to
Snowden. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Eric Lazo, but I'm going to testify for Marty J. Walsh because he's not here. I'm going to hold myself accountable for cutting the school's budgets. In all seriousness, my name is Eric Lazo. I'm 17 years old. I go to Snowden International. Like the outfit? It's kind of like the one you wore in the Adele video, huh? He could afford that, but I don't know, he can't afford to pay our schools. I was born in Melrose. I grew up a little bit in Boston. I grew up half my life in North Carolina, and now I'm back in Boston. So I have a deep longing for this city. My deep longing for education, however, came last year when they said that they're going to cut the budget. I didn't notice how much I took an education for granted. I didn't notice that when they were going to cut my Japanese class. And suddenly I wanted to fight for it. But as soon as I did, what came as a disadvantage, almost disturbing, unexpected, was that a lot of these adults that are cutting our budgets, a lot of the people in power who have, a lot of people in high places who have the power to stop what stifles students from going into their own future, look at me dully, and they don't even care. But something beautiful happened was a couple months after going into BYOP, the walkout happened, and 3,500 students stepped outside their schools to fight for their schools. A lot of teachers stopped those students from stepping outside those schools. The mayor said that was wrong. And a lot of people discredited us, the students, us pleading for a better education. Does that even happen anywhere else? I think it does. But us students, we're asking for an education. Hell, I don't even think we're asking anymore. We're fighting for an education. And I don't know, that just seems kind of disturbing that we're still fighting. It's been a year, and I know I'm going to be here next year, and probably the year before that. By then I'll be graduating, but even then I'll still fight, because this city is my city. There's people in my city growing up, and in my community there's going to be violence. There's going to be people dropping out. Right now people care about education. So it should be y'all's job to keep it that way. They want an education. But if you're going to take that away, who's going to want an education anymore? You know, those students that say, oh, school sucks, but why does it suck? You know, you could change it. It doesn't have to be the same thing for decades upon decades. It could be different. But it's y'all jobs to step up for that. But y'all don't do that. At least I haven't seen y'all do that, except for you. You came too young. Hey. But other than that, I don't see anybody advocating for students other than students themselves. Why does that happen? Why should it happen? That's all I have to say. Thank you. Have a great day.
My name is Bruno Koppel. I don't go to school currently. I'm 20 years old. And I was born in Cuba and about 20 years ago. And I came here 3 years ago. And I was enrolled in Dorchester High. And I did pretty good that year. It was junior year, and I got mostly A's and B's. But around April of that year, in junior year, they told us the school was gonna close down, and most of what I remember of that moment was just files on top of teachers' desks about to get thrown away in the trash. But after that, I went into Excel High, and then I did pretty well. I got mostly A's and B's. I graduated high school with 3.8, but when I got to college, I failed 2 semesters. I worked 40 hours. No, I worked 40 hours in every assignment. Not in every assignment, for the class. I divided it in like 5 hours for each class. I was taking 4 classes. That's probably about 20 hours. So I still couldn't manage to get the work done and then turn it into a teacher. I missed a lot of classes because I didn't have the homework. And it wasn't until I was doing a test that I realized that my math skills that I learned in the high school were getting me stuck. I couldn't fully get the paper done. And so I went into CAT Academy, and I had to find a way to learn a new way to do the math way, the old way, and get it done on time. And while I was trying to do a CAT Academy, I couldn't do the rest of the schoolwork, so then I couldn't do the homework, and I failed 2 semesters of college, believing that the high school education I got was enough to realize that it was stopping me. And I realized that the system, when I mean the system, I mean the high school system, that's the public high school system in the city, is not getting like the job done when it comes to like getting us to the next part, the higher education. This is college. And that just sort of like sat down in my mind for a while, and I couldn't really picture why, and I had to find like, I just felt stuck. I felt confused. I cried at night a lot, and I just couldn't put my mind into it. And I tried to slow down, really slow, and I was supposed to work today, but I got the day off, so I just wanted to come here. And honestly, I just feel like it's like, please fund us, but at the same time, why try? Because high school is like not enough. Like, we need something else. Like, I know we're born in the city and there's a lot of things to take care of, like, but it's kind of like somebody has to tell us go somewhere else instead of here. Because people come here and they believe that education is good. I came here. I could have stayed in Cuba, but I came here because I want a better future. But somebody has to tell us that the school is pretty shitty.
Good evening, everybody. Before I start, let me just say, hi, y'all. Shout out to the youth, the support, adult supports here, the organizations, and the lead organizers who've been fighting continuously around education. Thank you. Also, there's a lot of Southeast students who are not here right now who've definitely been leading the campaign. They have prom today. I know they'll see this. I want to talk about imagery real quick. I think there's cameras in here, so this is going to be on the television, or in the news, or in the YouTube. So please pay attention. Right now in this chamber, we have about 4 people. I don't know if all 4 of y'all are city councilors. There's 13 city councilors, but only 4 of y'all are here. There's 11 police officers outside. I'm shaking inside of me. 11 police officers outside. 11. Let me tell you why y'all have not been doing a good job. You don't do a good job because we're here again, year after year. Y'all continue to tell the youth that they're the future. Y'all continue to, why y'all think they're gonna act riled up? What choices are y'all giving, are we continue to giving our youth when we say, but then I just realized something. Half the time the youth are not of age to vote. So it's their parents. It's their parents that I've seen each of you as city councilors go talk to, shake their hand and promise them a better future. It's them parents that y'all decided to go out there and say, hey, come out and please vote. Y'all looking at their kids right now. Y'all looking at each and every one of their kids. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves. Y'all play a game, and yes, that young lady was right if she said it before. It does look like a puppet game. None of the schools that y'all went to, none of the degrees matter when you sit there and there's a budget in front of you and you can't allocate the funds to what matters. When people are sitting there and don't have jobs and they're sitting there telling y'all, well, here's how you can do the budget. You have people here who haven't worked, who've been present, who continuously are telling y'all and showing y'all throughout the year relentlessly. You got seniors here who started this campaign when they were freshmen. Should be ashamed of yourselves. Ashamed of yourselves. We're shaping our win, not whether or not y'all pass this budget. Don't get it twisted. Y'all shape y'all wins on y'all being present. Y'all shape y'all wins on how y'all do this work and how we're not going to stop doing this work. I don't know about y'all, though, because y'all seats, honestly, for me, right now, continuously asking for a budget that fits when y'all know there's money there. We want to roll out a conversation around free tuition. Look at this room. Distasteful, disgusting. I hope you feel nasty when you leave here, because this is disgusting. I don't know who half the other people are here besides the youth, but I do know at the last hearing, this room was full. All this place was full. Everybody around here was full. So here's the thing. Y'all do y'all dirt with your money. Whatever, however people want to locate, delocate. Oh, there's nothing. We're trying to really work with this money. No, you're not. No, you're not. But I'm letting you know, one thing for sure, I don't know about the cars being missing, but there will be a community audit. There's a push for community audit. Education, Michelle Wu, everybody else who's not in this room, I saw youth, I saw college students push them to be in their office. This is priority. When we meet with city councilors, that's one thing. But if y'all are the decision, then all of y'all should be a parent. If I didn't show up to work, I'd get fired. So I'm very confused about why we're supposed to stand here. And I'm speaking as a lead organizer, because it's not fair. They smell fakeness. I don't play that game with them. So when they're here like, well, damn, Fee, they don't show up to work, but they make some big decisions. But we got to show up to work. They show up to work every day. Few of them will show up and then go to prom. Every day. Let me just picture this for you at the end of the day, because I did say imagery. For people who are watching, people who aren't able to make it out here, I bet y'all thought it was a great idea to just move this hearing from Monday to today, because you can do it. I bet it's a great idea to leave early or dismiss yourself, because you can do it. See, we can't do it. Some of us have already been terrorized by police. How we know you don't care is from the minute I walk through that door. The minute when I walk through the elevator and the first person I see is just an officer, not saying hello or nothing type of situation, just, I'm bigger, I am taller. Let me tell y'all something. There are bosses. There are bosses. We will follow them. That's the promise that y'all said to the community. And we will make sure we let all the community know. Because at this point in time, the missing factor is people to stand right in front of y'all after all of these hearings, because y'all felt like this is y'all community conversation. It's after all of this is done, when the real people are there in these circles, in these rooms, that y'all will understand. These youth are dying because of it. And it's not just Boston. I said this last time. So even that man that y'all got who keeps, all of a sudden he's showing people, are y'all standing here? That man, or the other 7 who want to grill down people. Yes, school to prison pipeline, if you never heard it or never understood it, it's right outside. You want to know how them high schools feel like with a police officer down your back? It's right outside. Will he look at you like that? Will he look at you the way he looked at me when I walked in here? Will he look at you like that when you go outside? These young men and young women come in here, and this is how y'all show them? I want to ask y'all for nothing. I just want you to be ashamed of yourself. This building does not belong to y'all. It belongs to them. These words, everything around you does not belong to y'all. But it's cool, because ain't nobody telling y'all that. They just make sure all city councilors get their raise. That's what y'all asked for, right? Y'all wanted y'all raise, and y'all got it. It feels comfortable, right? Off of our backs, right? Enjoy your evening. I hope you enjoy all of it. We're going to continue fighting, and when y'all are ready to see and realize that there's actual people dedicated to do this work, they're doing y'all work. Actually have a conversation with them. And let me just say, thank you, Tito Jackson, because I know you've made it yourself to be able to speak to them on your own level, on your own time. And I respect that. Maybe y'all need to follow your leaders. Maybe you need to follow your teammates. Maybe y'all need to have another conversation. Do what they do. But right now, it's really distasteful to even be representing Boston, because I know how the city council sets up. It's just a shame. It's sad. And for all the different people and all the different youth, I really hope y'all really think about the futures that lie in your hands when y'all make decisions, and not just this decision. Because next year, there's going to be another budget. And you know what I hope y'all do is find these youth and have a conversation with the actual people who've been working on this. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kristen Leslie. I'm an education student at Framingham State, and I'm here to read a testimony from Dylan Yuen, who cannot be here today. Hello, everyone in this room, filled with educators, students, and politicians. My name is Dylan Yuen, and I'm here representing all Boston public schools, and mainly my former middle school, John W. McCormick. No, wait, sorry. First and foremost, I would like to thank Kathleen Alves for giving me such a privilege and opportunity to talk to politicians and educators from the best city. Now, with all the budget cuts that I've heard, it seems that DMC is going to lose around $900,000 in funding. So we can afford to buy tons of iPads, but we can't buy teachers who teach. Here's an analogy. Buying an iPad for school is like trying to use a fork for soup. It doesn't make sense. Teachers are getting cut. Science is not going to be a year-round class, and some schools have to use history teachers to teach science. Now, Superintendent Chang, last year, he assumed, Now, Superintendent Chang, last year you came to my specific science class, Dr. Gray Monpre's class in the McCormick, boasting about how science is key to finding great jobs, that it is super important to know as we progress through life. I totally agree with you, and I think everyone else does in this room too. But on the contrary, I have not seen how iPads can teach you how to calculate how fast the speed of light can travel from the sun to the earth. We have to think how we can make changes Now to help the future. McCormick has lost so much money last year, and this $900,000 cut is going to put this school's future in jeopardy. Secondly, I just want to advocate and show you guys what the McCormick has done for me for the past and now. To start off, I would like to say I came to Boston in August 2013 from California, so I was a complete stranger. I started 6th grade at the McCormick and ended at 8th, of course. In the 3 years of being at DMC, I've been able to do amazing field trips, like a trip to the Bensky Museum of Natural History, one of the special museums that holds real fossils. Throughout all the years I've been in the McCormick, it made sure I was extremely ready for high school. Now high school is a breeze for me. Another thing that made me who I am today is the McCormick debate team that is ran by Pamela Doyley and Melissa Pietro Gomez. With the help of those two coaches, my partner Jessica Pontes and I made the city finals and won. With that win, we were able to go to the National Debate and Speech Association annual tournament, one of the most prestigious tournaments you can qualify for. Now, as a freshman in high school, I carry this duty of always trying to help ones in need because of the family I had at the McCormick. The McCormick is not just a school, but a whole family run by students and teachers. We learn to listen, understand, and then speak. We learned life skills that most adults don't often understand. And with all due respect, most of the politicians don't understand how to use these skills. Now, besides me, many kids in the McCormick have gotten great opportunities to hire their education with math competitions, writing competitions, and science competitions throughout the year. With all this being said about the McCormick, we can't forget about the high schools and their middle schools. I just want to say that Boston Public Schools gave me everything I need to succeed in life later on in the future. I do not want to see education in Boston slowly go down because of some iPads or because some dumb reason we can't pay teachers. Again, I am thankful for the opportunity to let someone read what I would like to say about these budget cuts. I hope we can come to a policy that fits both economic needs and education needs. My name is Jillian Yuen. Thank you for your gracious time. I'm sure Dylan would have read that better than I did.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kima Green. And outside of that door, as been mentioned multiple times, there are more police officers out there than there are people listening to me in this room. Why? Because you guys don't expect me to grab this mic and sit up here and talk to you as a person. Some way, somehow, I'm supposed to get rowdy. We're supposed to do something that's so out of the ordinary besides talk to you and fight for our education. This city is designed around education. We're supposed to have the best worldwide education, but yet I'm in this room right now fighting for you guys to put more money into my textbooks, more money, and make sure that I can go to school. That does not make sense whatsoever. I'm an honors student, and as an honors student, I have my teachers constantly tell me every day that I am learning just like the average kid in a medical school, just like the average kid in a private school. That does not make sense. That's not at all encouraging. That's discouraging, actually, to know that to put honors in front of my class, that's when I get to learn like someone who gets money to go to school, someone whose money is actually paid for. If you guys' budgets are cut, there's no way you're sitting here. So it doesn't make sense that I'm supposed to go to school every day when my education already isn't enough, but then have you guys tell me, oh, there's not enough money. But there's enough money to keep damaging our environment. But there's enough money to fund all of the systems that are supposed to put me in prison. But there's so many systems to fund everything but the better equality in the life that I deserve. It does not make sense. There's no excuses. There are a bunch of police officers. We want to decrease violence. We want all these bad things to stop happening, but we don't want our kids in school to get an education. That does not make sense. It's out of control. The things that we fund are not here to better our generation and our future. As I look across you guys, I see a bunch of diversity. But the future doesn't contain diversity because there's not there's not different systems that are set in place to teach us. Doesn't make sense. Why do I have to come and fight for my education? Why do I have to be in this room right now to say, oh, we need more money? It's pretty clear that we need more money. As said, we need guidance counselors, we need support. Youth are the future. And the fact that I'm even at this mic right now saying that we need more money, it means you don't respect your future. That is not okay. That is not normal. Nowhere in life is it okay that I should have to fight for something that is my right. It is my right to know what comes out of my mouth. It is my right to be educated. So there's no reason why I'm up here saying, oh, we need more money. We need. There's a difference between a need and a want. We need it. Our future needs to continue. We need to be better. We need to be great. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Hooten. I'm from the North Shore. I'm currently a resident in Boston because I go to college here. I just want to acknowledge how strong and smart and educated these students are despite what they're facing and despite the fact that they have to come here every single year and have this conversation with you guys while you sit on your phones and not pay attention. I'm glad you're doing that while it's me speaking and not one of them. I just want to say, I'm from I went to high school in the suburbs, and, we didn't have problems like this because we're white. And I'm going to call this what this is. This is institutionalized racism. This is students of color are packed into the cities. They don't get what they need, but the students like me who are white out in the suburbs get what we need because it's institutionalized racism. And I think we need to call that what that is, and it's your job to figure out how to fix that and how to stop that, though you are proponents of that system, so good luck to you. I don't know how you're going to do that. I go to a state school, and my school, Mass Art, recently just got a lot of money to build a brand new building. I think if my community had known how badly these students need that money, we would not have endorsed building that brand new building, even though we needed it. College is not, college is extra. I think their education is much more important and they deserve everything they need. The fact that these are high school students coming here fighting for books and teachers and guidance counselors, that's crazy. Where I come from, students don't give a shit about that. Kids that go to suburban high schools, they don't care. They're not going to come out and fight, but these students are here fighting for something. They're not getting paid to come here to fight. They're fighting for something they need. You guys are getting paid to take care of them, and that's what we want you to do. We want you to take care of them. I've learned so much from these organizers. I have to fight for, my state school to get what it needs. It has, walls with leaks and dangerous things, whatever. But, these students have been doing this since they were 14 years old and younger. That is insane. That should not have to even happen. So I'm just here to let you know that there's adult people here who support these students, and these are our future. And if we don't support them, then our future is, they're going to have to keep fighting, and that's just not right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Monty Neal. I'm the Executive Director of Fair Test, the National Center for Fair and Open Testing. I live in Jamaica Plain. I'm really here to support the students. I've had the honor and the privilege of working with them, many of them, for a number of years. And I really hope you have heard their pain, their anger, and their hope. And I really hope you listen to them, because what they are saying is that this budget needs to go back to Mayor Walsh. Year after year, the city proposes a budget that inadequately funds the schools. In real dollar terms, year after year, they get a cut. The consequences play out in the stories that you have heard from them. It's not unique to Boston. There are processes going on in Boston and other cities that amount to a deliberate death spiral for schools. Cuts, the kids don't want to go there, lead to more cuts, till suddenly you're in level 3, then you're in level 4. Some of the students who couldn't make it here today are from Excel High. They had a great debate team. They were winning all over the place. There were lots of students that I met who came from Excel, who've been part of Young and BYOP, who are on that debate team, and it helped make them powerful leaders. This year, because they're busy being torn apart by city fiat. You can't even blame Mitchell Chester and the feds for it. City fiat. Because the feds don't require this anymore. Tearing that school apart, no debate team. No debate team. Okay, that's just one little example. You hear them. Nurses cut. The large class sizes. The counselors that they don't have. The librarians they don't get. The computers that they don't have. Problems even with basic sanitation sometimes. They do get lots of brain dead standardized tests to go along with no textbooks. You know, this is not high quality schooling. And unfortunately, we got a mayor who says he is the education mayor, and lo and behold, he's not the education mayor. So the students come to the Boston School Committee, along with parents. I heard parents from the McCormick. I heard teachers from schools. I heard these students say then what they're saying again today, and nothing changed. Last year, as they reminded you, they did a walkout. Does it take a walkout to get even minor concessions in this city? It seems to me the only solution is, as Phoenix and the students were telling you, is to build a grassroots movement. This is a movement that's got to have a new vision for our schools, because our schools are not supporting our children and their futures and the communities and the nation that we need. It isn't happening. Only a grassroots movement. I hope we can build that grassroots movement. I hope that'll make you listen to it. Because if you don't, I think then we'll have the power to get the leadership that we need, because we don't have the leadership we need at this time. Please send that budget back. Thank you.
Round two now.
Before I start, give me a Hello again. How you doing? Seems like you heard our words, pleasantly enough. Well, one of you guys left because sensitivity. I get it. All right. To finish off, you heard almost all of our testimonies. You guys heard what we had to say. You listened through each one of them. You heard what Natalie Portillo had to say for Christian DuBone. You heard what Phoenix said for herself. You heard what Ian Sorley. You heard Michael Jones. You heard Chris Garcia. You heard finally, you're hearing Kathleen Alves again. What I finally have to say is the final words I want to stick with you guys. Are you guys sitting in a broken desk? Are you the ones reading textbooks from 1999? Are you the ones with no pencils in the class? Are you the one with broken ceiling fixtures? Are you the one with the teachers who are leaving the classroom because they can't, because they're going to get fired soon? Are you the one with watching your programs go away? I know some of you guys have children. And I don't know if you guys are going to put them through the public system because you know what you're doing to it. Oh, rhetorical again before I get interrupted. Nice glasses, Mark, by the way. I know that you guys sit here, and I know you're trying to do your best in a system that is completely flawed. Tito Jackson, he's listening to us. Mark Kimona and Anissa Isiba George, sorry if I mispronounced your guys' name, and sorry, you don't have a name tag, I don't know it. If you guys come to Young meetings and listen to what we had to say, then we wouldn't have to come here every single year. This is one of my first years come to these budget hearings, and I know it's definitely not going to be my last. So, with final words, because we talked our ears off, I'm going to end.
Youth united will never be defeated. One 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 youth united will never.
I wanted to close today's hearing by thanking all my colleagues, all the members of the public who attended to give their testimony. And that concludes the public testimony for the fiscal year 18 budget as pertaining to dockets 0536 through 0538 and dockets 0539 through 0543. This hearing is adjourned.